2003 ALCS Game 7 is probably one of the best baseball games I've ever seen played in my 30 years of watching baseball. Now, the Yankees lost the World Series that year to the Florida Marlins, but I don't think anybody really thought that the Marlins were a better team. To me, anyway, and to a lot of Yankees fans, this felt like the World Series. The powerhouse Yankees against the powerhouse Red Sox for all the marbles, well, all the American League marbles. And it all came down to a Game 7. And this is the game that made Aaron Boone a household name pretty much for the rest of his life. He'll never pay for another drink in New York as long as he lives. So let's talk about how we got here. Game 1, Tim Wakefield shuts down the Yankees. The Red Sox win 5-2 in the Bronx behind Wakefield's amazing knuckleball. He was in peak form that year, and he beat Mike Messina, who fell to 0-2 in the postseason. Game 2, the Yankees bounce back and win 6-2 behind Andy Pettitte, another great postseason performance. Derek Lowe was on the mound, and the Yankees even the series before going back to Boston. In Game 3, that was the game where tensions rose, and ultimately the benches cleared. Don Zimmer got thrown to the ground by Pedro Martinez, a little punk, and the Red Sox lost 4-3 to the Yankees, Roger Clemens picking up the win. Game 4, the Red Sox bounced back to even the series, 3-2. Tim Wakefield pitching well. Mike Messina goes to 0-3 in the postseason. Game 5, the Yankees come back and win 4-2 behind David Wells. Derek Lowe falls to 0-3 in the postseason. Mariano Rivera picks up the save. Game 6, the Red Sox force a Game 7, winning 9-6. Jose Contreras, Cuban refugee, the guy whose signing inspired the general manager of the Red Sox to call the Yankees the evil empire, extending its tentacles even into Latin America. So here we are, Game 7, the best two words in sports. Let's see who the Yankees ran out there for their lineup to try and finish off the Red Sox. Leading off, Alfonso Sorian. Now, he had a pretty good year, but he could not touch a slider in that postseason. He comes in, just not doing much. He would go 0 for 5 with 4 strikeouts in the game. Nick Johnson batting second. Now, Nick Johnson was a big-time prospect. He had a knack for getting on base. Didn't ever really do too much with the Yankees. He ultimately got traded for Javier Vasquez with the Expos. He ended up with the Nationals after the Expos relocated and had a decent career for a few years, but ultimately injuries wore him down. Batting third, Derek Jeter, obviously the Yankees captain, one of their best players. Bernie Williams, now he was still pretty good at this point, but nearing the end of his dominant run as the Yankee center fielder. Batting fifth, Hideki Matsui, a money postseason player, and always hit Pedro pretty well. Batting sixth, Jorge Posada, switch hitting catcher, part of the core 4. Batting seventh, and this was big news, Jason Giambi. Remember, he's just 2 years removed from signing the biggest contract that the Yankees have ever handed out, $120 million. And he was in the 7th hole for the first time since his days with Oakland. Batting 8th, Enrique Wilson. Now, you might remember him as a guy who didn't get a lot of playing time, and you'd be right. But one thing he did really well was hit Pedro Martinez, because Pedro Martinez was a guy who liked to throw up and in. He liked to drill guys, get guys uncomfortable. But Enrique Wilson was a good friend of his, so he never threw at Enrique Wilson. So Wilson felt kind of comfortable in the lineup. And batting 9th, Kareem Garcia, right fielder, kind of a left-handed slugger, didn't have a ton of power, did get on base a lot. You might remember in Moneyball, what does Kareem Garcia do? He gets on base. And on the mound, 40-year-old Roger Clemens. Now, Roger Clemens had announced that this would be his final season in the major leagues. It ultimately would not be, but there was some speculation that, this could be his last start as a Yankee if they lost, and he didn't pitch well. You'll see in the highlights. But he had a pretty good year. He was 17-9 with a 3.91 ERA. He made all 33 starts, pitched 211 and 2/3 innings, had 190 strikeouts, and he was just as intimidating as ever. He was still throwing 94, 95 with a great splitter, pretty good control. And a lot of people were wondering why he was retiring because he was still pitching pretty well. There was some controversy because he told the Yankees that he was going to retire, and so they didn't offer him a qualifying offer. But then the Astros lured him out of retirement, which means that the Yankees did not get a compensation draft pick when he signed with the Astros. So that kind of ticked them off a little bit. But ultimately, Clemens would mend fences with the Yankees and return to end his career in 2007. So let's get to the highlights, and then I'll be back to give my thoughts on one of the greatest games of all time, Game 7.
And Clemens, who so far is 2-0 in this postseason, coming off a 17-9 regular season, will take on this lineup. Johnny Damon leading off, then Todd Walker batting second. Nomar Garciaparra broke through yesterday. He's hitting third. Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz, the DH. Kevin Millar at first, Trot Nixon in right, Bill Miller at third, and Jason Varitek homered yesterday. He has hit 4 in this postseason. 41 years old, the Rocket, Roger Clemens.
And the question in everybody's mind, is this it? Is this his last appearance? How fitting from Boston to New York City with a stop in between.
Martinez 1-1 in the postseason this year with the Red Sox. Will take on this lineup: Soriano, Johnson, and Jeter. Different look. Nick Johnson batting second. Where's Giambi if Jeter's hitting third? He's batting seventh as the DH. First time he's done that for Joe Torre. Enrique Wilson, who has handled Pedro Martinez, batting eighth. Kareem Garcia ninth. And here's Pedro Martinez. One away. Nixon into right center field. Did he get enough? Yes, he did. The Red Sox strike first. Trot Nixon, a home run to right center field. It's 2-0 Boston in the second. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Miller strikes out. 2 out. 2-1 pitch to the left side for Enrique Wilson. His throw sails into the seats, and that'll bring Varitek to the plate to make it 3-0. Wilson in the lineup for his bat against Pedro Martinez. Boone is sitting out. A high fastball, and there's 93 miles an hour again. And if the Red Sox have proven one thing, the way to get Giambi out in this postseason, high 2 on Soriano with Nick Johnson on deck. Fastball to get Soriano, 2 out. By Subway, good so you don't always have to be. Subway, eat fresh. Millar hits one to left field. That ball back into the corner, up and out. Home run Millar. It's 4-0 Boston as Millar gets his first of the postseason. And the Red Sox and their fans have to be thinking final. Yesterday, the bullpen gave it up. Runner goes, hit and run. It works perfectly for the Red Sox. Nixon will go to third. The Red Sox doing everything right so far tonight. Have first and third and nobody out. And potentially, could be the last time he exits a Major League field. Time in his big league career, Mike Mussina is coming out of the bullpen. That's what's happened this postseason. An 0-3 record. He's lost twice in this ALCS. A big strikeout by the Yankee right-hander. 1 away. To the shortstop, Jeter. Steps and fires. Mike Messina may have just kept the Yankees in this game. Another 3-2 pitch. Another strikeout for Martinez. 4 on the night. 2 on with 1 out, and Ortiz strikes out. 2 away. Jeter to his left, gets it, thought about flipping it for the out, but goes across to first. 2 hits, 2 left. Red Sox have stranded 5. Halfway hospitals throughout New England in partnership with the Boston Red Sox. As this ball is hit high and deep to right center, off the bat of Giambi and gone. It's a 3-run game. Giambi batting in the 7 spot goes deep, and the Yankees are on the board in Game 7. Veritek almost standing as that pitch is brought home. 2 out as Martinez gets his 5th strikeout.
Make him several steps above the normal pitcher.
That's on the inside corner to end the inning. That delayed strike 3 call by McClelland. 4-1. Nixon went 1 away. Two hops to Soriano. What a job Messina's done so far for the Yankees out of the bullpen.
Garcia.
Jeter strikes out, and that's strikeout number 7 for Pedro Martinez. Comes into the action and throws a fastball for a strike over the outside corner. Here's another example of a guy who was added late, claimed off waivers from Cincinnati. Damon strikes out, 1 away. Pitching change. A matchup of Jeff Nelson, who has that bloated ERA in this postseason, against Nomar Garcia. Garcia-Parra strikes out. It is time to stretch. Into right center field. Damon back at the track, at the wall. It is gone for another Giambi home run. It's 4-2 in the 7th. For the 4th time tonight, Soriano is struck out. Pedro Martinez gives up the home run to Giambi, but strands 2. We go to the 8th inning of Game 7 for New York. Dealing with David Ortiz, Kevin Millar to follow. 2 starts, 2 wins for Wells as Ortiz gets into one to right. This one is at the wall and gone. David Ortiz greets David Wells with a first pitch home run to right. It's 5-2.
A hanging curveball right around the belly button.
This one is straight up the chute. Shallow center field for Jeter. And we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. A home run by David Ortiz gives Martinez that run back. Jeter flies into right, Nixon back. On the run, it's over his head. Jeter will dig for second and hold there with a double. The 2-2 into center field. Damon will play it on a hop. Jeter will come to the plate. It's a 2-run game. Ripped into the right field corner fair. Bernie Williams will dig. It's a ground rule double. It's second and third as the Red Sox catch a break as that ball hops out of play. But the tying runs are at second and third with 1 out here in the 8th. A flare into center field. Out as Walker won't get it. The base running of Matsui. He comes home. Nobody covers second. Tie game. Dylan Embry takes over the left-hander, and what it does for the Yankees in Joe Torre is get Enrique Wilson out of the lineup. He was coming to the plate to face the left.
For 2 innings.
At least.
The Yankees have used Clemens, Messina, Heredia, Nelson, Wells. Todd Walker floats one, caught by Soriano. A stutter step. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on. Jeter strikes out. Timlin got it by him. He fell down 3 games to 2 of the series, coming back here and won game 6, 9-6. Garcia Parra takes strike 3, and there's 1 out in the 10th. A pop-up. Jeter still tied as we go to the bottom of the 10th inning in Wakefield. This postseason, 2-1. But so far, he was the winner in game 1 out. Miller. Three shutout innings from Mariano Rivera. I tell you, they were 5 outs away in the 8th inning, leading by 3 as Boone hits it to deep left. That might send the Yankees to the World Series. Boone, a hero in Game 7.
What a game. What an ending. God, I love watching. I never get tired of watching Aaron Boone hit that home run and watching the Red Sox walk off the field. So just a few thoughts I had while watching this. Do you guys think more of Johnny Damon as a Red Sox player or as a Yankees player? To me, I know he was a Yankee for a long time, but I still always think of him as a Red Sox player. I think of him in 2004 with that beard hitting that home run off of Javier Vasquez. And for that reason, I have a tough time looking at Johnny Damon for some reason. Another ex-A who became a Yankee, Jason Giambi. Had a big game, 2 solo home runs off of Pedro. Now, I know Giambi was dropped to 7th in the lineup, and he kind of gets forgotten about in this comeback, but that comeback does not happen without Jason Giambi. Mike Messina in relief with the clutch performance. This was probably the peak of his career. Now, you know, he never won a World Series. He did get to pitch in the 2001 and the 2003 World Series, but this was probabprobably the peak, the biggest game that he was ever a part of that the Yankees won. And then Matsui, big clutch double. Matsui always hit Pedro well, and he always hit well in the postseason. I miss Hideki Matsui. As for Aaron Boone's home run, I got a funny story about that. So I was watching the game, and I was holding a baseball as I was watching the game. And I was with my roommate his name is Kyle Gavitt. He became the best man at my wedding. And he's a big Red Sox fan, and we were just kind of stuck together. He was a rugby player, I was a baseball player, and we were sitting next to each other on the couch, and the Yankees win, and he goes outside to storm off. I've got a baseball in my hand, and I run outside, and I'm celebrating, and I chuck this baseball at as hard as I could, right at a brick wall that was less than 10 feet away from me. I just threw it right at it, but we never heard it hit the wall. We never found the baseball. And we're both convinced that I was so excited that I threw the ball actually out of our space-time continuum. So, it's like going to hit some alien on Mars or something like this. Crazy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this recap. Be sure to like and subscribe, and check out my other channel, the Ski Lodge podcast. I'll be posting a lot of content there while we're on a break for the coronavirus, while we're waiting for the season to start. Sounds like they may get started in June. All the games in Arizona, not sure. Still kind of a fluid situation, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you next time.